Good evening, and again, welcome to the Provost Colloquium Series. Provost Bruno asked me to come down tonight to introduce our presenter, and I was more than happy to do so. Tonight's presenter is Dr. Weichu from the College of Business and Management. All right, he's been a valued member of the College of Business Management for 5 years, and those of us who know him and respect him as a colleague, know him as Webb. And so Webb comes to us with a MBA from Purdue University, followed by a PhD from Old Dominion in Norfolk, Virginia, which is a beautiful place to be from. Webb's research interests, and I'm going to read these because I couldn't remember them all, are strategic decision making, of course, which fits right in with what he's going to talk about this evening. Also, leadership and corporate strategy and sustainability. All right. Tonight's presentation is one that I know you'll all find interesting. It's going to talk about emotions in rational decision making. So without further ado, would you please give a warm welcome to Webb, Dr. Weichu Xu.
Thank you so much. Okay. Yeah, I wonder, most of you probably already took a copy of simulation, and how many of you finished that? Most of you? Okay. And when you finish that, I'm pretty sure you have some idea about what I will do for my research. So from that kind of simulation, first, you read some vignette, maybe pictures, stories, event, video, and they cause certain kind of what? Emotion on you. And then you will, with that kind of emotion, you will doing some decision making. And then we will see how this emotion will have an impact on you. A stronger or weak emotion, positive, negative, that kind of emotion will have impact on you. Okay? So I will here. First, always ask questions on you guys. Okay? Because when you come here, I'd like you guys to work together with me instead of just listening. I'd like you to think. Okay? So I know I asked you guys question, are you rational or emotion? Or both? And I'm pretty sure you guys will say what? Both. But are you more emotional or more rational? Or are you mostly in the middle? In the middle. Okay. No one asked me, how can you judge yourself? Is you rational or emotional? How you judge yourself? Huh? Very what?
Very
Toughly.
Harshly.
Harshly? So more harsh is more rational or more emotion? It depends. Okay. Yeah, my question for you is, how many of you cry to tears when you read some novel, when you watch movie or TV, even you know it's faked, right? How many of you cry to tears? Okay, so I like to say you're pretty emotional. Okay, if you never cry, yeah, you're pretty rational. And the second very simple question, ask yourself, I don't know how many of you do grocery every week. I know some of you probably live with your parent, right? So you're lucky. You never go to Walmart, that kind of things. How many of you do grocery shopping? Okay. How many of you always follow the same route? Like you drive or whatever? You always, or you take a different, how many of you use always the same route? Okay, so you are pretty rational. Okay, for me, every time I try the different route, because I want to look at different view, different. I'm not in rush. But if you are very rational, you will always pay attention to what? Efficiency. You will always stick with your schedule. Okay, so very simple way you can think. Okay, if I'm rational or emotion. Okay, I like to say most of you combine both. Some maybe go a little bit rational, some a little bit emotion. And why we have emotion? Can we get rid of that? And most of the people probably think emotion is a little bit what? Negative, right? If some people say you are very emotion, do you like that? Probably not. A little bit negative, right? A little bit. But can you thinking after another 5,000 years, people will get rid of emotion? It's not good, right? It makes you look weak or not harsh or tough, right? Yes or no? Probably not. Why? Come within. Okay, you look at actually for the past 1,000 years evolution of human being, right? You maybe can thinking, yeah, we can get more rational and rational and rational. Maybe emotion have no place in our life. But imagine if you are very rational people, what will happen to you? What will happen to you? Your behavior will be easy to what? Predict, right? Okay, and then you can control it, right? By other people's. Okay, if I can predict when you will show up in the ESU, when you will disappear, when will you go take which route to your home, what will happen to you? If I'm not happy with you, or if I what? Get rid of you. Okay, I will not do that, but just give you an example. If someone want to get rid of you, so easy to do that. Okay, so if you are too rational, you will not survive. If any bad things happen, you are easy to get killed, right? If someone want to murder you, so easy. So that's the reason why. Yeah, some of you probably thinking a little bit, but actually that's happening in the world. Too rational people, it will be a little bit challenging for you to survive. You always have some enemy, right? Now I have a peaceful time, so maybe you are not so dangerous. But if you are very rational, you're not good. So emotion actually work for you. And I'm pretty sure most of you heard about what? Machine learning, artificial intelligence, right? Can you beat machines? No. When you use a rational decision making, machine is much, much better than you, right? They will consider thousands of different variables. They can build very sophisticated models, right? And they can learn from millions of different cases, and they will get something. For you, you probably couldn't do that, right? But the emotion gives you the chance to what? To be machine. Assume one day machine have an emotion, what will happen? Malfunction, right? They not do things step by step. They do something what? By themselves. You never know why. So machine has some problem, and then they maybe have an emotion. So don't worry about it. Machine will take over people. But if they get an emotion, we cannot predict their behavior, and that's the really dangerous day for everyone. Okay? But so far, I'm thinking they couldn't create an emotion for machine. So emotion actually working for us, protect us. Okay? And I don't know how you guys have any idea make emotion work for you or against to you. If you guys stay psychologic, right? You heard about emotion regulation, emotion contingence, right? Actually, you can use emotion work for you, right? Sometimes maybe you're thinking it's not so good. But if you know what's going on here, you can use it work for you. Okay, so that's what I'm thinking for that kind of research. And I like you to give this picture every time when I'm talking about emotion, right? You either what? Fight or flight. And my suggestion to you is what? Flight. Don't fight. Okay? If you want to fight, you should have a good what? Tools. So emotion actually can save your life. Okay? If you stand there thinking about, yeah, do I need to fight with this guy or not? You disappear. Right? You cannot exist anymore. The only function is what? Emotion. Run. Quick as possible. Okay? And some people maybe can put another thing here is what? Freeze. You look at that and then you stop working. Okay, I hope that does not happen to you guys. Okay, don't freeze. Freeze doesn't work. Okay, so either fight or flight. If you have good tools. If you're not, my suggestion for you is run. Okay, this basically maybe can save your life. And then I will go to the kind of research, like what question I want to focus and the model I use. And I will skip this one, okay, lecture review, because it's too many things. I think you guys probably not interested in here. And I like to explain how I develop my hypothesis, and especially the methodology I use. And I will share you with the result from my research, okay? And I'm pretty sure you already have some idea about the methodology because you are the sample. If you finish your simulation, so you have some idea. And this simulation only is a short version, like 2 pages. But the kind of scenario I use for managers is like about 5 or 6 pages, a little bit more complicated. Because I don't like you guys to spend 30 minutes or 40 minutes to finish that in today. And today I know 5:30 is a difficult time for most of you. I just finished and I really appreciate you guys can come. Okay, so I will quick over and hopefully I can give you guys sometimes we can together discuss some questions if you have. So basically, there was some kind of a gap because there are a lot of the research, they focus on what? Decision making, ordinary decision making, or economic decision making. Not the mainly they focus on what? They call it strategic decision making. What I mean in strategic decision making? What you just finished is what? Tactical, economic decision making. Only $500, right? But if you go up to what? $5 million or $500 million decision, that is what? Strategic decision making. A lot of money involved. Very important. Okay, they'll make big differences. That kind of decision, they call it strategic decision making. But why they're not the people focused on that? Why are they more focused on smaller economic? Because the argument here is when you make that kind of strategic decision making, you are not supposed to be what? Emotion. You should be very, very rational when you make that kind of decision. But do you think that's the case now? Probably not. Right? I will show you why. Because now you need to make a quick decision in a very short time. And that decision will have a big impact. Okay, as before, you can wait. 1 month, 2 months, everyone come, we discuss, and then we make a decision. But now it's not the case anymore. Okay? And the other thing is the culture. Right? Most of you, I think, is from US. You only know US, but you want to compete with other countries. You want to know how other managers, other companies from different backgrounds, they will behave different from you. So if you want to win, you need to know yourself, also know other people's. right? So I introduced like culture. And culture, I know most of you probably know how many different dimensions in a culture. Hot stuff, right? A global study. Any of you recall that? No one? Hofstede? Globe, yeah. Right? They find how many different dimensions in the culture? One? What?
Many.
Many. One is 5. Another one, I think, is 7. Now they go to 9.
Yeah, 9.
Yeah, a different kind of dimension. But here I only focus on one is what? Individualism. US is very individualism. And China is very collectivism. So I like to see how this dimension have the impact on your decision making. Okay, and I can use the other dimension, but this one I think is most the kind of significant differences here. Okay, so basically we focus on the strategic decision, big one, and to see different kind of emotion. Pride, positive one. Guilt is what? Negative one. Why I focus on these two instead of other 20, 30 different emotions? Any of you, any ideas?
Some of the strongest emotions.
Strongest? They are common found. Pride, if you are a very successful manager, CEO, right? For 10 years, 20 years, you will feel what? Overconfidence. That's another word, you name it. Or managerial hubris, right? Or you feel proud. When you make something, you're thinking you are so good. If you are very successful. Guilt. A lot of the manager commit what? Suicide during the 2008 finance crisis. If I remember right, at least the 10, 20 fund manager, because they what? They lose all their investment. So they feel sorry to the kind of shareholders. So they kill themselves. Okay? So that's the thing I think, okay, that maybe happens. How this kind of emotion actually impact on you? Strategic decision making. And we focus on one is risk. Do they take high risk, lower risk? How you measure the risk? Any of you, any ideas? One decision risk and then another, yes?
Just use probabilities.
Probabilities?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other ideas? I like to hear one word. Probability, yeah, close. Variance, right? If a decision change big, higher risk. Smaller change, lower risk. For example, I give you for your simulation. If you bet, you can win 500 or lose 500. Or you bet one time, you can win 200 or lose 200. Which one higher risk? 500 one, right? Because they're bigger. You either lose 500 or get 500, much bigger. The other smaller. So risk is smaller. Okay, so we're talking about risk. Comprehensiveness is how many different factors, how much information you thinking is enough. Okay, and resource commitment, when you decided how much money you will put there. And last one is speed, how quick you will make your decisions. Okay, and some of you probably will argue this one a little bit correlated to this one, right? If you need more information, maybe take a little bit more time. But here we can say, okay, with the same kind of information, can you make decision or not? Okay, so basically, this is the model I use for my study. So basically, I cause two different kinds of emotion. One I call positive, one is negative, and how they have impact on 4 different dimensions in your strategic decision making. And especially, you can see here they have a what? Signal here. So basically, you can see guilt, they were what? make you take less the risk. Pride will make you take a little bit higher risk. It's like there's a little bit like common sense, right? You think, okay, if you're overconfident, you're thinking you can do anything, right? You'll take a higher risk. But if you're guilt, you probably want to be a little bit careful. You're sad, right? Yeah, I just predict so we will try to figure out with the data to see if it really happen or not. And comprehensiveness, if you feel guilt, you probably need more information before you make decision. And this is pride, a little bit less. Okay, and resource commitment, guilty, you will commit a little bit more. You want to make sure. But when you feel guilty, you feel what? You maybe cannot control, lose control, that kind of the things. Okay, and pride, yeah, you overestimate it. You're thinking, okay, everything under control, I'm always successful. Yeah, so you're maybe a less the kind of the resource. And speed is the same. Speed, guilt, you maybe want to be more careful. And pride, you're thinking, yeah, everything should be okay. So this is like a direction. And then we were thinking about the culture. Culture here a little bit tricky. Maybe I like you guys to give me some input. When I make some prediction, some work, some doesn't work. And they have a lot of different explanations. Especially when we're thinking about a US manager and Chinese manager. At the very beginning, I'm pretty sure I know both because I grew up in China, and I came to the US to get my MBA, and I hang out with a lot of Americans. They have a business background. Okay, and I asked them, this sample is from MBA alumni from 4-5 universities. So they have a lot of experience. So I make some prediction, and it looks not to work very well. Okay, so maybe you guys can give me some input here. Okay, so yeah, this is the simple thing you remember. If you want to take away from this study, is you have some decision. So hopefully you are very rational, so you can predict the direction. And then suddenly they have an emotion. They call it punctuation. So, and then probably you will not stay with the old way. You will make some changes. And how culture will make this change bigger or smaller. Okay, so this basically is what I do for this study here. And I don't know, most people, if they want a suggestion to you, they say, okay, do everything what? Rational. So when emotion come, you do what? Prevent the kind of influence, if you can do that. But I don't know how many of you can do that. You still keep calm, even you won the lottery, $1 million. How many of you still very calm? Probably difficult, right? Yeah, I wish I have that kind of chance. But yeah, which some of you probably have that kind of chance because you may be a little bit lucky than me, okay? But I think it's difficult. Yeah, ideal situation, just get rid of this. And you still stay the old way. But in the real life, I think a little bit challenge, okay? So I will not go over this. I think this is a little bit too academic. Basically, I will tell you what is a strategic decision. I just tell you important one. A lot of money involved, make big differences, important consequences, that kind of things, okay? And how they make decisions. There are a lot of things you need to consider, a lot of consequences, okay? And then talking about emotion. Yeah, some of you probably have some idea why emotion. Why we not talk about what? Modes, right? MOODS, affectors, and feelings. Why use emotion? Any differences between modes, effectors, feelings, emotions. I know you guys are native speaker, right? You probably know the difference better than me. But I choose the emotion because emotion is a little bit what? Stronger, the kind of the feelings. More is a little bit weak, right? That's my understanding. So that's the reason why I think, okay, maybe we use the emotion. But when you read some other article, they will use a different word. Affect or feelings, that kind of thing. But I think they mean similar things, okay? And different model will tell you why they cause the emotion. And I don't know you agree with which one. I'll just give you an example. You cry, so you feel sad. Or you read something sad and you feel sad. Or I keep your heartbeat very quick, so you feel anxious, right? Or you feel anxious when you get heartbeat quick. Which one? Which one? First one or second one? It's you read cognitive way and you thinking something and you feel something. Or I make you have some physical feel and then you feel some emotion. Which one?
They have to work together.
They have to work together. Okay. I don't know, like my explanation for that is it depends on what you are talking about. Okay? If you assume, how many of you thinking animals have emotion too? Yes, right? Like a cat, dog, right? They maybe show, they come to you. So I like to say human is more go to cognitive. They think and they feel. But the animal, they more go to what? Physical way. Because they cannot think. I think, how many of you think animal can think? Probably not, right? Maybe dolphin. I don't know. Monkey, maybe. But the cat, do you think cat can think, can have a cognitive, that kind of? I don't think so. I heard about it, say animal, only animal can realize themselves is what? Dolphin. Well, you put a middle there, they will figure out something in the middle is different from them. But a lot of animals, they cannot tell the difference. They think that is something else. It's not the me. What?
Animals can solve problems.
Yeah, but I just say, okay, maybe they have some thinking, but a very lower level. But a human is much, much higher. So human emotion is more like a cognitive, that kind of function. You think, you feel sad, right? Like I give you a simulation. You look at the pictures, maybe you put yourself, right? But the animal, I don't think you show them picture mean nothing, right? You maybe hit them and feel sad or feel bad. Physically feeling first. Okay, so we'll not go there. I just say, okay, they have a different way, the kind of the emotion. And the emotion have a big impact on the decision making. They're already for a lot of the economic, I'm thinking we have a colleague from economic departments, right? And financial, finance, like behavior finance, behavior economics, and hopefully we have a behavior what? Management, right? Because the manager make a lot of decisions. Manager, they still have the kind of emotion here, okay? So there are a lot of different models. I will not go to the detail. I think if I go to the detail, most of you will fall asleep. Okay, I don't like that kind of thing to happen. Okay, so, yeah, one thing I want to point out is this one. When you go decision making, people do a lot of research here. But this one is very hot. And not many people do this. Okay, it's still very difficult. But I like you guys to remind you, every time when you make a decision, you combine three together. You not necessarily only depend on one. Like most I thinking is here, but you have some here, some here. And I always give this example to my students, right? I don't know how many of you find your boyfriend, girlfriend, or your husband, your wife use rational decision making? 1 plus 1, yeah, I can make it maybe, right? Actually, I saw the economics, they use a model to analyze it. How two people marry with each other, right? 1 plus 1, what? Larger than 2. 3, 4, right? How many of you do that? Probably no one, right? Most of you do what? This one. You saw someone, you're thinking this is right. You don't know why, right? And some of you probably do this, right? You unconsciously do something like this. So I like to say, for the big deal, people use emotion. You cannot calculate it. Something so complicated, right? You probably cannot do that. And most are thinking they combine 2. Some they combine 3 together, okay? Okay, I will skip this one because I'm thinking it's too much different model. So, yeah, so this is what I mentioned, like 2 different kind of emotion. One is cognitive, motivational, and relational models. Basically, you look something, you think, and then you get some feeling. The other one is they call it perceptual theories. So they change your bodies, make you have quick heartbeat, so you feel nervous, you feel anxious. Or you cry, and then you feel sad. Maybe that not happen to you. Okay, maybe happen to some people. And this word, I think, as you can see many, but here we use that kind of emotion. Okay, and then this is a theory. Actually, I get a lot of feedback for other like very good professor. They say, yeah, if you can actually invented one unified theory, include all the emotion, and explain all the emotion impact on everything, you'll be perfect. But so far, I think it's difficult. They have many different theories, just explain 1 or 2 emotion on 1 or 2 dimension on the decision. You cannot use one theory to explain everything. So I just give you some example here. They say, some of you probably see this. They can somatic market hypothesis, and this theory, and this theory, and this theory. Okay, some they even contradict to each other. Okay, but I just give you some idea. Many theories, they try to explain how emotion have an impact on decision making. So here I just pick whatever work for me, and then I just use the theory. So that's the one problem with this like a research. Okay, some theory you can predict totally the kind of the different direction. Okay, this is the reason why I choose like a risk, comprehensiveness, and resource commitment, speed, because this is the most important kind of dimension for strategic decision making. Okay, so far any question? I think maybe too much information for you guys. So basically, why strategic decision making? Because now you need to do that quick. You cannot wait. So emotion will have a big impact. If you can wait, and then when you come down, right, and you make a rational decision making, that would be perfect. But most of the time, you probably couldn't wait, right? I don't know how many of you use Facebook. Most of you, okay. So you pay attention what happened to Facebook. The information was used by one, I think it's UK company, right? Cambridge Analysis. And when this news go out, do you see Mark Zuckerberg go out to do something? No. Wait, I think in almost 3 or 1 week. What happened to the Facebook? The stock price go down almost 20%. Big loss. Because they don't know how to respond. They're thinking, okay, everything wait, and then it will solve itself. No. Okay, big things you need to go out to do something. Okay, you cannot wait. Even under the kind of negative, the kind of emotion from your users, right? They feel betrayed, be like what? Be straight, right? you're not treating them like rightly, right way. So that's like the thing I want to focus here. And then two feeling guilt, right? They are important in the working place. Guilt, you can see AIG, BP, managing a finance crisis, right? They feel they do something wrong, so they have that kind of guilt feeling, okay? And pride for very successful CEO. For example, I don't know how many of you know Andy Grove? Very old school guy, right? Already retired. He made like Intel, very successful for I think almost 20 years. And another one is Jack Lynch, right, for GE. Very successful manager, 20 years. So they have that kind of feeling, pride. Another word they use is what? Overconfidence. They are very successful. So basically I choose these two, okay? You can easily find from the top manager and how this have impact on their decision here. Okay, so I will quick go over, this is like some argument or previous research I found, and this is the hypothesis. So basically the idea here is higher guilt will lead to what? Lower risk. Does that make sense to you guys? Mm-hmm. Right? Higher guilty, so make you a little bit, you feel sorry, so you maybe a little bit more careful, right? So you don't want to take the higher risk. Or you another way you can say is overestimate the risk when you feel bad, right? So I don't know, like when you was a kid, probably you play these tricks, right? When your parents are happy, you ask whatever toys you want, they will buy for you. Very expensive one, right? They will be happy. So this is like a similar argument here, but the involved thing is different. One is smaller, maybe $100, like you finish for a simulation. And the other is what? $5 million. Big differences here. And the second one is pride will lead to higher risk. You will overestimate. You will take a higher risk. And higher guilt will go to higher comprehensiveness. You'll be more careful. Okay, you probably need more information before you can make that kind of decision. And high-level pride with less comprehensiveness. Here, actually, yeah, a little bit. Do you agree with that? Higher pride, lower comprehensiveness, you less information, you will have less options. Because in business, every time when you make a decision, you need to have what? Information. You need to have an option, contingency plan, right? I always tell my students in strategic management, plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D, plan E, at least 5. Okay, so you want that kind of more options, more information. Okay, but at least the what? Plan A, plan B, and plan C. Okay, so this is called like a little bit comprehensive. They want to think it over, figure out a lot of the solution before they can make a decision. Okay, and guilt actually, they say here is a higher resource commitment. Guilty basically you feeling you lose the control, you feel bad, feel sorry, so you basically you want to be more careful. So they say you will maybe put more resource, make you feel secure. And pride will make you have less the kind of commitment. Basically you are overestimated. Okay, you can take a higher kind of risk here. So, and high level guilt, here is they will have a lower decision, right? You'll be more careful, kind of like a common sense. But I like to find something maybe different from here, and then maybe you can make some contribution, okay? And the other one is pride will make you make a little bit quick decision. Assume, okay, here is like the same comprehension level. And you always like thinking this two, maybe they are related to each other here. Okay, now it's like the tricky thing about the culture. I think let's maybe need you guys to help me to think it through. Okay, the culture thing, I just say, okay, if everything like a randomized, the culture is not the factors. But now we what? We pick culture as a one factors. So like a 2 times 2 times 2, that kind of analysis. Okay, and we only focus on one dimension. Because culture, they have a what? 5 dimensions. Individualism, masculinity, I think the word, I don't know why they invented a very complicated word. Masculinity, right? Or femininity. Yeah, you can use the femininity, it'll be easy. And the other one is what? Power distance, right? How equal or unequal exists between the members. And yeah, I must admit my memory is getting worse. Okay, yeah, I cannot remember the kind of too many things. So basically I have a 5, but I just pick one here, okay? How this kind of individualism and collectivism will have an impact on that kind of your relationship between emotion and the decision making. Okay, and here maybe when you look at this, I think, I don't know if you can figure out here, from higher collectivism culture, for example, like for country like China, and they will take a lower risk at the higher level of the guilt. While manager from the US, higher individual culture, they will take a same risk. Here is not the same risk, just there are not significant differences. They still take a little bit higher. So, does that work for you? Yes? Okay, I think I will show you the picture, maybe a little bit better, help you to understanding. Okay, the result here is something like this one. That's what I'm expect to see. Okay, so you see guilt, lower and higher. Some people, they will cause higher, some will be a little bit lower. It depends on how emotional you are. Okay, and this is 2 countries. This one is the US, this one is China. And when you combine these 2 together, you can see the line is like something like this. So lower guilt will take a higher risk. Right? Higher guilt, they will take a lower risk. But we want to see the differences. And do you think that makes sense to you? Chinese manager, higher guilt, they take almost similar risk. But lower guilt, it's not supposed the US manager take a higher risk, right? Because here you are more what? Individualism. You are more risk-taking, right? And I always say in China, they have a proverb, they say what? Proverb, they say, never stick out. If you have stick out, you'll get what? You'll get hit. But in the US, they encourage everyone to be what? Different, right? And you're thinking, maybe this is supposed to be what? US. US should take a higher risk here, right? Does that make sense? So is the hypothesis have some problem here?
hard to understand why China, being a collectivist culture,
Yeah.
even at low guilt,
Yeah.
would take that significantly greater a risk.
Yeah, yeah. At the very beginning,
Yes.
I think there's something wrong here. And then I go back to look at the literary. Actually, this happens. And the explanation is what? It's very, yes?
How are you measuring risk? Are you using variance to measure risk here? Might it have something to do with the measurement? of
Something
risk?
we do in here.
Yeah.
Like you can get more or less. Like when you invest on something, you get return. You can return is 1 million, for example, $1 billion or $500 million, that kind of things. So basically it's a variance. You invest, I think the scenario I use is what you have an overseas investment. How much money you want to put there? And how much money you expect to get a return. So basically they want to take a higher risk, is a higher return. Lower risk is lower return. But it's very, very interesting. Here is what I found. Like they say, if you, in the US, you work individually, you will like take a higher risk. But when you're working for company, actually you take a less risk. Do you know why?
They could fire you.
They can fire you because you are all by yourself. But in China, they depend on what? Families, groups. So actually, they are more like take risk. Because if they fail, they probably don't take any responsibility. But in the US, you get fired. You lose your job.
But you have more financial crisis in the US.
I don't know, like actually, if you use US standard in China, China already have a 10, 20 times finance crisis. Because they do everything like in the US do what? They pay out companies. In China, no company can go bankrupt, especially state-owned company. Government all is the last kind of resort. National bank. They just passed the law to allow the national bank to go bankrupt, state-owned bank. 3 years ago, no bank, because they can keep printing money, just like the US, because a lot of you have a problem with what? US government with AIG, right? AIG is the last thing you need to pay out. If you pay out AIG, you save everything. So they spend, I remember, like $600 million, billion, 600 or 700 billion. They save the last domino, right? Domino, and then everything will be good. If you are interested, yeah, you can study the finance crisis. Because if AIG gone, everyone gone. Basically, it's like this. Yeah, it's like an insurance company. So, and actually, U.S. company, they buy a lot of what? Subprime loan, right? In China, what they can do? They can stop the market. They will not allow you to sell anything, so you never get crashed, right? In the U.S., can you do that? Yes, but probably no one want to do that, right? A lot of people were against that. But in China, they do anything. So they have a very high on that kind of debt rate, but because the market is closed, the government can do a lot of things. So actually in China, managers take a much, much higher risk. Yeah, if I remember, the debt rate is like 254%, like 2.5 times for your that kind of borrowing. The debt rate is very, very high. So because now I still keep collecting more data. I try to ask more the kind of manager to finish this to help me to get more data to see is this really the case or not. Because my sample is not big enough. So I still want to collect the kind of the data. Okay, so I think we could directly jump to a conclusion here. Because when you look at a hypothesis, I think a little bit complicated for you to think about that. Okay, and the second one here is basically they say lower price, people have a lower risk. Higher price, higher risk.
So if you combine two together, they will be here. Okay? And for the US, higher price, they take higher risk because the individual. But in China, in general, higher price, they take a little bit lower risk. So here, I think a little bit different from the first one. Right? If you follow the first one, it should be here. This one should be China. This one should be US. Okay, but you see significant level is good. Like point A for the interaction is a 0.05. For the only culture, I think it's still significant. And for price, it's very significant. So basically, it's this works. Okay? And then we were looking at another one. How that kind of the guild have impact on what? Comprehensiveness. So higher guild, higher comprehensiveness. Lower comprehensiveness. And US is here, China is here. So there's some differences here, okay? Basically, they say, even in a guild situation, Chinese manager more careful because they are thinking not only about themselves, they're thinking about everyone else. But the US, they may be more thinking about themselves. Okay, and interesting here, and you can see here significant level. Yeah, it's not a very good, like a 0.07, not the 0.05, because for each emotion, I think they are very significant. But when your culture getting here a little bit, not very very good here. Okay, and I'd like you to help me out this one. Okay, when you have a price, higher price, it's supposed to have what? Lower comprehensiveness. So why they are actually no significant? You can see actually price have not have a impact on comprehensiveness. Does that make sense? For lower one,
Are you controlling for levels of privatization?
no. No, because I'm thinking all factor is randomized. We only focus on, like this is the good thing about experience design. You can pick that kind of sample, and you can manipulate it. So here, my conclusion is like when CEO make a decision, they're always very careful. They are not because they think that's a big deal. Lot of other interest involved. So they probably will actually care. So that's the reason why emotion. And in other words, they say they can control in certain degree. They will not let the emotion have a big influence on them. Right? Because this is, the one thing I cannot, it's totally against that kind of hypothesis. Yeah, and the other, this one, I think is a very, very good one. Yeah, guilt, right? Lower guilt, higher speed, higher guilt, low speed. And Chinese, they're even lower because US, they're more focused on individual. Chinese, they're more focused on group decision making. They need more people involved. So they're a little bit slow. They're easy to explain that. Okay? And they are all very significant here. And the last one here is this one. Okay, you can see this is all the significant. So pride, yeah, they can make a little bit quick. Pride a little bit lower. And Chinese, because they need to consult more people, right? They basically is used to collect decision making. Even your decision by yourself, you still maybe take a little bit long time. Instead, you totally, but the US is very individual, right? If you see you want to do something, probably you can do it. So the result is a little bit like this, okay? And I will show you the result for the only the kind of the emotion on decision making. So you can see all the direction is what? Supported, except that this one. So basically they say, when you are pride, you still pay a lot of attention. You are not like use that kind of. But for the guilt, you are even more careful. But for the pride, you're still careful too. Because I'm thinking you should be less careful, right? And this one probably have an impact on the interaction functions. Like when you're talking about individualism and comprehensiveness, right? Both they are very careful, even for the individuals. Okay, so this is like a result. So for the methodology part, I think it's you guys already did that. So you have some ideas. Okay, so basically it's like a online survey, online simulation. The difference is here is what? They are much bigger. And actually, they are reading about pollution caused by company. They invest, for example, I'm pretty sure most of you heard about US company when they invest some factory in China or India, they always have what? Issues, right? They either use labor, child labor, or they have some pollution issues. So the scenario here is you have that kind of business and you cause some issue, so you feel guilt. And then you make another decision. For example, you have operation in India, now you have operation in what? In China or Brazil. So when you make a next decision, how you emotion, guilt, have that impact on that. Or you build one factory, very successful, and now you want to build another one in another country. And then you have an emotion about what? Pride, right? You're proud of what you did for your company. You make a lot of money. And now you do next investment, how this have impact on you. Okay? So basically, two scenarios that cause, one is very successful, one you have pollution. A lot of people die from the pollution. So you have two emotion. And we will manipulation check by panels, just like you did. We want to see what kind of emotion cause on you, how strong it is. And actually, when you read this, they cause certain kind of emotion. Okay? And then we will ask you to do another decision. Like you build another factory in another emerging countries. So how this have impact on you? Okay? And the difference is here is what? Much complicated one, and the variables is similar to what you did, but for each dimension, I ask 3 or 4 questions. I don't know any of you graduate student here, why for each variable I ask 3 or 4 similar questions? Any of you, any ideas? For example, when I ask a risk, I not just like ask one question from today's, I give you the kind of simulation, right? You want to bet You have 50% get a $10, 20, 30, 40, 50, only one question. Let the major your risk you want to take. And I ask 4 questions related to the risk. Why I do that?
Get a more accurate answer.
Very, very good. Okay, some of you probably answer one question, you're not pay attention, so you pick the maybe less risk, but actually you want to take a higher risk. So I ask second question, double check. Third question, 4 questions, so I take average. So in that way, you will not have that kind of the big issue with that kind of measurement. And they call it reliability. Okay, the contra reliability. If you're a graduate student, you're supposed to know these ideas. Okay, so this is very similar to what you did at the beginning of today's presentation. You have a kind of simplified version. Manager have a what? Complicated version. Okay, if you like to try the complicated version, I can give you the chance. Okay, if some of you say, oh, yeah, and I'm collecting more data. So far, I only have how many sponsors? Yeah. Yeah, actually, response rate is very low. There are thousands of people did, but only this is good. And the tricky thing here is, if you guys pay attention, right? When some of you get in, you say, well, I'm supposed to pick 2 scenarios. How many of you pick two paper? You, okay. Yeah, because I expect you guys only finish 1, right? I like you to cause 1 emotion, and then the emotion calm down, and then you maybe can take another one. But in this class, I think in this presentation, it's too short for you to overcome that. But for the manager, I ask them, finish 1, and then wait 2 weeks, and then come back to finish another one. But I still not get enough sample here. But it's good to me to get some ideas out of that. But I expect this number can get like what, 100, 200, maybe 500. So probably this will give a more reliable kind of result. Okay? And actually, I can, now it's not active anymore. I put it in one website. So basically, yeah, they have 2 different versions, Chinese, English, one. And actually, there are a lot of things I transfer to Chinese and transfer back to English. So make sure the questionnaire is pretty identical in both the kind of versions. Okay? And this is something I did like for manipulate check and reliability, validity, that kind of check, make sure that kind of everything I ask is really related to like what I want to measure. And what I measure is very reliable. It's not only 1 question. It's like 4 questions to repeat, ask same thing, okay? And then I just use the ANOVA to test that. 1 fact, 2 fact, the kind of ANOVA. So this is all about my presentation. I hope it's not too late, right? Okay. We still have 50 minutes. So you got any questions? Or you want to help me finish more survey? Yeah, welcome. But the thing here is, I don't know, you guys qualify because I expect people have a what? International business experience. But that's the first question I ask. Do you have that kind of international business experience? So you can continue. If you not, yeah, a little bit difficult for you to make a decision. Yeah. So this is all about my presentation.
So how are you going to increase your participation rate, your sample size?
Yeah, I think I want to work maybe with ESU, and then we have maybe graduate students or alumni, Yeah, that's the way I ask people to help me. I send out an email. I ask alumni relationship department. So basically, I say, oh, we can help you to send out this email. And when they read it, they can click the link. If they think they are interested, they can do it. And at the very beginning, I want to give people gift card, but I said maybe have like a pre-selection, that kind of effect, right? People like money, they will do it, and that's probably not the one I'm looking for. I like everyone because experience design. The good thing is what? It's very randomized. Yeah, you can actually randomize a lot of the factors, right? Because for the age, you can people's age from 20, 30, 40, 50, you can any age. So age is not the issue. But sometimes you cannot control it. You only focus on people 20 years, 30 years. So they like to take what? Risk. Young people usually like to take a risk. Older people, they are more conservative. Not necessary, but in general. And I ask you a question like gender, right? Male, female. Male usually like to take risk. Female, they are more conservative. But here, I randomize that. So gender is no longer an issue. So I probably, ask, I don't know, maybe, yes, you can help me to do, maybe I can collect more data here. Yeah.
My first thought, I don't know, I have no idea here, but my first thought on your pride and comprehensiveness,
Yeah.
which hasn't moved in the way you expected, is that though there is variance in the degree to which the two people from the two cultures respond, the direction is the same. They're both moving in the same direction.
Yeah.
Whereas in others of your variables that I remember, they're moving in different directions, and that makes me wonder if you haven't on that particular issue tapped into something.
You mean this one, right?
Yeah, is that you've tapped into something that is psychological more than it is cultural, and that maybe if you were to talk with some of the psychologists, that they might be able to.
Okay. You mean, here.
I don't know.
Okay, side. Yeah, I think this is like so many different things related to each other. So sometimes when you focus on one thing, probably it's not good enough. So psychologists, they maybe can explain this one. Okay, it's like pride with comprehensiveness. Yes. Okay, any other thoughts?
It feels to me intuitively like this is psychology, not culture operating there. I don't know.
Okay.
See, my emotional side is saying,
Emotion.
my emotions are telling me intuitively, this isn't culture that is causing that.
Okay. So probably you say maybe personality or.
I think it's something maybe more universal, something psychological. I don't know.
Psychological thing. Okay,
Right.
Psychological factors. Yeah, maybe we can add one thing to measure, right? Personality or.
I
Yeah.
think more than personality. I wouldn't say personality.
Okay.
Okay. I don't think it has anything to do with personality. I mean, I don't know I think your sample sizes are large enough that you probably are, you'll probably, as you increase your sample size, you'll probably get statistical significance. Right now, your sample size isn't large enough, I think, to give you statistical significance.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
it'll
just keep.
but it'll probably continue to move in the direction that it's moving, right?
Okay.
Okay, I don't think you expect too many surprises in what you're gonna see down the road.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so keep
And
collect
so-
more. Yeah.
So I don't know, I'm thinking that there's something here having to do with the confidence that a person feels
Confidence.
when they really feel on top of their game. And that it's easier to direct people to bring people together to look more comprehensively at something when you're riding on that confidence.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
your mental faculties are sharper than when you're feeling guilt. Your mental faculties are beat when you're feeling a lot of guilt or shame. But that's.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned guilt and shame, a little bit different, yeah.
But
Guilt and shame.
I really don't know, Webb.
So at least you think maybe increase the sample size.
Well,
Yeah. Because if you
I mean,
increase the
when
sample
you increase
size,
your sample size, I think you're going to get statistical significance. out of
significant.
it.
Okay.
Okay, don't you think so?
Yeah, usually, yeah. Yeah, big sample, smaller changes, yeah, that will cause a kind of significant, yeah. Okay, yeah, yeah.
A moment ago, you discussed the question about the sample, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Looks like you worry about the sample size. This is my thinking. You can ask your student to do the similar research. Yeah, ask them to choose another set of sample to verify your conclusion.
Okay.
In the future, you can mention this part in the research. You
Okay.
mentioned, another
So
independent
you are
study
thinking-
will verify this part.
this side is, yeah, I'm thinking like, because the response rate is very low, you see? Only 7%.
My point is you ask, you lead the student to do research.
Mm.
Yeah, you ask them to choose some sample to verify your conclusion.
Okay,
In the future, you can mention this part in the paper.
okay. You mean increase some student sample?
Yes,
maybe?
yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking here, when you look at this number, right, it's okay, but not big enough. Because a lot of them, they are not qualified. They're not finished or they missed some value. So response rate, I think, is not very good. Because 1,000 people trying to finish this one, but not everyone they give me the kind of effect, the kind of result. Yeah. Okay, I think probably you guys hungry, supposed to go back to eat. And thank you so much for your coming. Yeah.